class, welcome to the chapter on how to organize the body of your speech. In the previous two chapters, we covered how to put together your outline, the foundation for your speech. Now we are specifically looking at the body of your speech. The next video will focus on your introduction and your conclusion. Let's look at the overview for this particular chapter. We will be covering what organizational strategies you can use in your speech and how do you make a speech out of a strategy. Remember, the way we put together our speech is that we come up with our general purpose, we have our specific purpose, and then go into your body and put together the body of your speech, your main points of your speech. Not your introduction. A lot of times we think that way, but you go into the body, and that's what we're looking at in this PowerPoint. Strategies within the body of your speech. Now we're looking at your informative speech, ways that you can put together your points. One is in chronological. It moves through steps. Chronological is through time. You develop a timeline. This works really well in a demonstration speech, a process speech, where you're going from point A to point D, okay? Or if you're informing us of the biography of a person, the history of a situation, where you're going through a timeline, chronologically. Topical is when you decide on when you look at each of your points and you decide which one's most important or least important, that there's a strong division among these points, and you decide how you want to address each of these points in your speech. So, for instance, if I was speaking about how to be an A student at Gettysburg HACC, let's say, and that was what my speech was about. And I'm thinking to myself, well, a student can study, a student can go to the Learning Center, and a student needs to attend class. And when I put this in topical order, I might say that, there's a strong division among these points, right? And I may say, what the most important thing a student can do is study. And that's how you can become an A student. The second most important thing is definitely to go to class. And thirdly is to go to the Learning Center. So that's how you would put points in topical order. Spatial order, in a sense, creates a relationship of your points when it relates to an organization, a physical setting. Let's go back here, excuse me. And you create this proximity. For instance, the most common use of spatial order is if you were informing a group about the organization of, let's say, Gettysburg HACC, of a college. And spatial order would be, we have faculty, we have students, we have administration, and we have staff. So how each of those relate in relationship, and you would discuss each of those areas, and that would be your spatial order. You can look at the natural environment and look at spatial order that way, and how Mount Rainier survives, which is in Washington State, in its environment, and you can look at the different elements involved of its survival. Spatial order. How do you make a speech out of a strategy? Well, you select a strategy, and the most important thing you want to remember is, first of all, your general purpose, which is either to inform, to persuade, or to entertain, or to celebrate a special occasion, okay? In this class, you will be informing us, and you will be persuading us. And you want to consider your topic, okay? Think about your topic that you're going to discuss. Think about the timeline you have, because we know where our speeches are timed. So you want to be sure that topic that you can help your audience to understand, or you could persuade your audience in that time frame. It's not too complicated or it's not too simple. And lastly, your audience. To whom are you speaking to? And when you think about your audience, you're going to come up with your good points to support that your topic and that your audience can relate to. Discover your main points. Obviously, you want to think about, go back to your specific purpose and your central idea. If you have your central idea written already, sometimes people wait until after they have their body put together to write the central idea. It's up to you. Make a list of details you want to convey and select 3 to 5 important themes or points that you're going to talk about. Your book says 2 to 5. But I want 3 to 5. You need at least 3 good points to support a specific purpose or a speech goal. So 3 to 5 important themes. A lot of times in this process, what I do is when I have my specific purpose, I pretty much brainstorm and just jot information down. And then I look at that listing and come up with my 3 to 5 main points. This could be based on your knowledge, or it could also be based on you went out and you did some research, or you read up on it, and you've come up with 3 to 5 main points. Creating your main points, you want them in complete sentences, as you see in your book. 1 idea per point. We don't want a compound sentence, okay, a complete sentence. You want your sentences to coordinate. You want them in parallel order. In other words, they want to, in a sense, be the same. You might start them off the same. First criterion, second criterion. You may start them off with an active verb. But you want some kind of coordination of these sentences so that it does make sense, especially if you're using a delivery outline where you are looking at that main point and then planning to deliver that in your speech. So just keep in mind, main points need to be complete sentences, 1 thought, and parallel in a sense where they're the same, whether they start out the same or they have some kind of connection in their sentencing. Expand with your subpoints. Complete sentences or fragmented sentences. As you see here, you have your first main point and then you have your subpoints underneath. Your book says that they should be complete sentences, but I will accept your subpoints to be in fragments. They don't have to be written out. It's your choice. And remember, our subpoints, this is 1 subpoint, supports our main point, and then the main point supports your specific goal. Here we have subpoints of subpoints. It's your decision. But if you have a main point, you definitely need to have subpoints to support that main point. 1 idea in each subpoint. Common organizational problems that occur with students. Your book looks at more common problems, but in my experience of teaching for over 10 years, I find that, sometimes students start off and they have too many main points, especially in a demonstration speech where you kind of list all the steps and you might have 10 steps. And that's too many. We know we want 3 to 5 main points in our body. And what you want to do is then kind of cross-reference those 10 points. See where you can combine some of those points and you could come up with 3 to 5 main points. Sometimes it's called chunking, a real academic word, but what you do is see how they're similar in points and you come up with 1 heading. There's not enough time for the body of the speech, or not enough time is spent on each main point. Not enough time for the body of speech. That means that you chose a topic that was just too complicated, too elaborate for that 8 to 10 minute time frame. So choosing your topic is very important when you're thinking about your time and your audience. And then not enough time spent on each main point. Again, you want to be thorough in your description, in your examples, in your supporting information, so that your audience can understand each main point. And that is it for Chapter 6. Keep in mind to review the importance of choosing a topic that works for your time frame and for your audience. Okay, and then when you go in to put together the body of your speech, think about the 3 to 5 main points that you will be using to support that topic. Your main points should be written in complete sentences, thinking about parallel structure, and then you will come up with your subpoints that support each main point, and they can be written in a sentence or in a fragmented sentence if so. Also, after you have your main body put together, then we'll look at how to put together your introduction, okay? How you gain the attention of your audience, establish your credibility, bring in the relevance and the preview of your points, and then we'll look at how to conclude, and that'll be in our next PowerPoint. Thank you.